Now we'll come for this statistical test. So we learned to know the steps in hypothesis testing is select an appropriate test. So before going to different kinds of tests, there are two broad classifications are there. So one is called as parametric test. Next one is called as non-parametric test. Let's look into what is parametric and non-parametric. What is parametric test? It involves estimation of parameter. For parametric test, data should be in the form of interval or ratio level. We cannot do parametric test if the data is in nominal or ordinal scale. So parametric tests can be carried out only if the data in the form of interval or ratio level. Parametric test has assumptions like variables are normally distributed. So we have an assumption saying that variables are normally distributed. When can we say the variables normally distributed means there are two things involved in the research process. We can assume the variables are normally distributed. One is larger sample size. So larger sample size in the sense some books use different numbers for larger sample size. Mahajan book, if you see, larger means more than 30. For any study which has more than 30 sample, it will be considered as a sample size with larger sample size. But at the same time, other book called Visveshwar Rao, that book says larger sample size is 100. So it differs. So generally, if you have a larger sample size, first point. Second, if we follow the random procedure while selecting the sample. So when these two steps are involved in the research process, larger sample size, random selection. So we assume that the data is normally distributed. If any study, if there is no randomization, we cannot assume the normal distribution, or we cannot go for parametric test. So sample size less than 30, again we cannot go for parametric test. Since we have these assumptions, it is more powerful than non-parametric test. More powerful than non-parametric test. Non-parametric test. What is non-parametric test? They do not estimate the parameters. They involve less restrictive assumptions about the normal distribution. And if data is not normally distributed also, we can do non-parametric test, which means a study design which has less sample size, we can go for non-parametric test. If randomization is not followed, like quasi-experimental study, pre-experimental study, we can go for non-parametric test.